For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thank you so much for tuning in on your favorite podcast app or the one that just opened when you accidentally clicked something and you hit some letters and this podcast came up and then it started playing and then it saved to your phone and now you're like, how do I get this guy off my device? Well, you count and you're stuck with me for the next 30 minutes. There you go. Do you ever have one of those days? Probably just by stumbling across this podcast. You're sitting there going, crap, it's just going to be a day. Well, I had one of those. And I'm going to tell you about it. Here's what I mean. So let's say you wake up and you get out of bed and then you stub your toe right away. And then you're pissed off by that, and then you're coming downstairs, and then you lose your balance, the dog runs right by you, and you almost fall down the stairs. And then the dogs are so excited to go outside, and then you get a claw in the foot because they, just run by. And then you're like, this is already 3 strikes against me, and I've only been awake for not even 5 minutes. So you want to just go back to bed, right? That's the deal. You're now in a terrible mood. You don't even want to I'm going to go back upstairs. I don't care. I don't want to see anybody. I'm going to go back to sleep until tomorrow. Or just sleep it off and then start again. Well, that's what I'm talking about. And I had one of those days, and it left my husband and me very, very frustrated because we were sitting here going, what next? What next? I'll tell you about it on The Scribble right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
JB here on The Scribble. All right, so, typically when people wake up on the weekends, you have to remember that my schedule and my husband's schedule are different. I'm basically retired, so I don't wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning during the week and then, work for 8 hours. We generally wake up at about between 11 and noon each day. So on the weekends, we're not like everybody else where we've got to wait for the weekend to do stuff because we do that all week. But it was kind of a cool sort of a day on Saturday. It wasn't sweltering hot. It was just a nice... And we woke up a little bit early. And so I'd said to my husband, well, what do you want to do? And we don't normally have conversations like that because the day just sort of plays out as it plays out. I go into the bathtub. He goes down to the gym. He's a fitness model, so he's got his routine for working out. So he goes down to the gym for 2 hours. I go into the tub and, watch TV or do emails or whatever it is that I do. And then we reconvene and we will, again, depending on the time or whatever it is, we'll either we'll walk the dogs, or if we're hungry, we'll eat, or vice versa, or, we'll flip it around. And then it's early afternoon or mid-afternoon by that point. And so do we need groceries? Do we want to go and do something? There's never really kind of a big plan for the day. So because it was nice, we just said, okay, well, it was about I'd say it was about 10 o'clock. It was fairly early. We woke up early. The birds were chirping. It was just a nice, cool morning. So I said to him, okay, well, why don't we, let's take the dogs for a walk because they're excited, when we wake up and, and then we can go and just do whatever for the day, right? We'll tire them out on a big, long walk. Fine, great, let's do that. So we lace up our shoes, we head out, and we live in a nice neighborhood, so it's not like, and I don't want, it's hard to describe. So when we leave the house, we turned left and then we walked a couple steps and then we turned right on a side street. So I'm not going to go to those details. Anyway, so we round a corner and we get to one of the side streets. And there's a FedEx truck parked right at the stop sign. And it's the wrong way on the street. So to get past it, you almost kind of have to duck your head around this massive truck that's illegally parked the wrong way on the street. And when I say illegally parked, it's right at the stop sign. So even a car that was coming wouldn't be able to see that there's a stop sign there. So basically the truck is blocking the stop sign and it's parked the wrong way on the street. So we're coming up to that and I was like, my luck, I know we've got to peek around the corner. Our dogs aren't on those 20-foot leashes. They're right beside us when we're walking. So that wasn't it. And sure as shit, wouldn't you know it, here comes the car, not even realizing there's a stop sign. Now, I don't know who would be at fault for something like that, right? Because, the stop sign is blocked by a vehicle. There would be no way that the driver could see it because the truck is that big and it's, Anyway, so I was, we just kind of slowly peek out and sure enough, here comes a car. We almost got hit by a car. We left the house not even 2 minutes earlier. It's almost literally we just stepped out and we've almost been smoked by a car. So I do the typical thing where I'm like, well, let's get a fucking picture of this license plate because that's something I've got to report to FedEx and be like, look, whoever your driver is, and I don't even know if he was in the backyard of somebody's place because this would have been a situation where, my hot-headed Brazilian husband would confront the guy and, it would turn bad. So we don't even know where the guy was, but I'm like, let's just keep walking. We got a picture of the license plate. We got a picture of him at the stop sign. We've got proof. So this really happened. So then we go. So we're walking a couple more blocks and we have our usual route that we go. So we go up about 3 blocks, then we hang a left and we walk down a long street and then we hang another right and then we go hang a left again and we kind of zigzag through all the different streets. And there's some bays in our neighborhood as well. So you kind of loop around like a half moon kind of a thing. And so we get to another street where there's kind of a blind corner for a driver because there's a tall fence on one side. So you kind of roll through the stop sign a little bit. Well, the woman was looking in that direction. She wasn't looking towards us where we were walking. So we almost got hit by a driver who was actually behind the wheel, not a parked car. The other one we almost got hit too. But so she does the weird kind of puts up her hand and sort of waves at us as though, I don't know what that means. Right? The people do the wave oh, huh. It's no, you just fucking almost hit us. Why are you waving at us? What does that mean? That means is that a sorry kind of a thing? And because she'd passed the stop sign, so she was impeding our pathway of walking, she basically just kind of stayed there. And I was I'm motioning kind of back, I'm not going around you into the busy street. I'm not going to get hit by, no, you need to move back to behind where the stop sign is because you're probably about 5 feet in front of it. You move back. It's not us to get around you. You need to move back. Well, now there's 2 other cars behind her, so she's kind of what she can't really go back. So I'm just standing there, and I'm no, and I point to get back. And so then eventually I guess the other drivers had seen this, and so they slowly moved back, and then she was given the room. And then I just give this death stare as I'm passing her truck, just staring at her. And I thought, oh my God. So we've almost had a run-in with 2 vehicles. And we're now, I would say we're maybe 10 minutes into the walk at this point. So, all right, fine, whatever. So we've got the FedEx truck. We've got the, the woman at the stop sign. And now we're going through one of the bays. Now we're going on one of the rounded streets. Well, those are a little bit narrower, right, than other kinds of streets, especially if you're parked because there's a curve and you kind of... So we're walking and there's a big furniture truck. Again, parked the wrong way on the street. And as we're coming up to it, I was like, well, whatever. I'm not going to say anything. Just, And there was a driver who was coming. It's kind of weird. So let's picture a grid of 4 boxes. Top left is box 1. top right is 2, bottom left is 3, so like a 4 square kind of a thing. We're talking like a cube here, or a square, okay? So the furniture truck is parked the wrong way in box 1, and there's a parked car in box 4. So we're looking at 2 diagonal. They're both facing the same way. The car in number 4, in box 4, is parked the right way. The truck in box 1 is parked the wrong way. Sorry, the box 4 is parked the right way. Box 1 is the wrong way, facing the wrong direction. So there's a car that's trying to get around the truck. They're in basically box 3, so bottom left is where that driver is, because he's got to now go around the parked car and then go diagonally up to box number 2. But that truck is so big that it's blocking a vehicle that's coming in the direction that's also trying to go to box number 2. So you almost have this collision because they're so close together on this narrow street. And I witnessed this. The one driver kind of backs up to let the other one go through, even though they've almost just hit each other. And there's the 2 guys at the furniture truck that are at the back of the truck. And I just said, come on, you guys, that's illegal. You can't park there. And there's the 2 guys standing there. The guy on the right basically kind of motions like with his hand, like I'm, like talking, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah. And I said, no, it's illegal. Like, move it. You can't be there. Look, you just almost caused an accident. The guy on the left tells me to fuck off. And just, again, they just kind of continue about what they're doing. And so, again, I'm like, well, I'll get a picture of this for their company. I'm not being a Karen. I'm not getting in their face and recording them and confronting them, whatever. I'm just going to snap the picture, get the license plate, email it to the company, and that's it. That's all I was doing. Well, they happen to notice me take a picture. And one of them shouts that that's illegal to do that. And I said, I'm on a public sidewalk. I'm like, 20 feet away from them. It's not like I approached them and was, combative and right in their face. So I snapped the picture. And they're yelling at me and kind of swearing. Now, again, this is where husband would normally step in. He's a very big guy, tattooed, tanned, Brazilian bodybuilder. He's the kind of husband who would be like, buddies, do you want to go? Do you want to go, buddies? Because I'll fucking drop you. And I appreciate that, but I also don't like that because, again, I'm a member of the media as well. So it's the last thing that you need is like, Jeremy Bradley's husband, like, ugh. So I said to him, like, just leave it alone, whatever. So the guy on the left, who'd said that it's legal to take their picture, starts following us. And we round the corner because we were almost just at the end of the street, or at the end of the curve, the bend. He follows us for almost like a half a block. And I turned around and he had his phone up, so he was either taking pictures or whatever, I think. And I just thought, okay, now I'm on edge because now this is like the 3rd run-in today and we've only been out of the house for like 15, 20 minutes. So I'm kind of like, oh my God. Now he didn't get like super close. He wasn't, but we could hear him saying something and we weren't paying attention. We were just like, just keep walking. Just, whatever, ignore it. It's fine. And he says to me, my husband says to me, let's just go home. Like, I'm not even into this. I said, well, but the dogs don't know what's going on, right? And, the walk is for them. And like, that's, we can't, they know where we normally walk. So if all of a sudden we cut it short, they're going to be like, oh, we're in trouble because that's what happens when we do a short walk. It means that they're either not walking, they're not behaving or whatever it is. So I said, they haven't done anything wrong. They don't know what's, and that's kind of, I guess, the cool thing about being a dog is like they'll hear us talking or maybe like shouting to somebody. They have no idea that we almost just got hit. They have no idea that this guy is like threatening us and following us, right? So I said that to husband. I'm like, let's just like go, a couple more blocks and then maybe we can like wind our way back to, because we kind of do like a really big route where we weren't even like halfway yet. We weren't even at the halfway mark. We still had several blocks and then we would be on our way back after because we walk for about like a good hour and a half, 2 hours. It's great. And he's like, why don't we just get away from the actual like street traffic? Because that seems to be what we're having the issue with today, right? Because vehicles are not our friends. So I said, all right, that's a good point. So there is like a bike path or like a walking or whatever you call it. It's kind of like a wide or like a paved kind of a thing. It's a couple blocks away. Said like, let's just get there. Yeah, we're probably going to be passing like people on their bikes, whatever, but whatever. Like they kind of know people walk their dogs down it. It's not a big deal. So I said, all right, let's get there. So it was kind of out of the path of where we would normally go, but we go. And I said to him, all right, let's just avoid any kind of like busy street or whatever. Like if we have to take a bunch of side streets to get there, let's just do that. So we do that. We turn onto a street. As we're walking, all of a sudden we see on the other side of the street one of those little yappy rat dogs. They're always the tough guy, right? Meanwhile, I've got a big golden retriever and a husky, and it's like, yeah, one bite, you're done. One bite, Mr. Tough Guy, you're toast. And why do they always do that? Like, there's two really big dogs versus the one little dog. Like, why are you not scared of these two big dogs? Like, this is not right. You should not be this ballsy when you're this tiny little, like, it's just, yeah. So I noticed this from up ahead, and I said, like, oh, fuck, all right, well, let's cross the street, and then let's walk on the other side. Maybe, the dog hasn't seen us or whatever. Well, we cross the street, and sure as shit, the little yappy dog notices us, so he comes running across the street. The dog almost got hit by a car, by the way. And so, because the dog is barking and being yappy, all of a sudden this woman comes running from her yard, and I recognized her, and I said, I've seen her do this before. I have seen her have to come out and grab this dog before. It was like a few weeks ago, but I was like, oh my God, I remember the street. I know exactly. So, because I'm in this mood already from, all these instances or these incidents already, she runs and grabs a, and the dog is coming towards us, and she's probably about 3 houses in front of us. And because I'm in a mood, she's like, kind of chasing the dog. And I said, I'm going to fucking kick it. I'm fucking kicking it. So I'm fucking kicking it. If it comes at me, if it bites or whatever, I'm fucking kicking it. And so she's calling the dog, and eventually it comes to her, and so she picks up the dog. And as I'm passing, now we're not even 5 feet apart from each other. I just said, you do this all the fucking time. It's like this every fucking time with you. And I just kept walking. And so here I am. And we don't see, when we're walking, we don't miss a beat. We don't stop. We just keep going. So if there's another dog that's passing and my dogs are kind of getting rowdy, it doesn't mess with my steps and my rhythm that I'm walking. And so exactly what my husband, he's looking at me going oh my God, you just told off this, you're swearing at these people. I said, I'm just in a mood now. I am just so pissed off about this. I just cannot, I just want to, I don't even want to do the path. I just want to go home. Now I just want to go home. So we ended up kind of making it a little bit of a shorter walk. We did a few more blocks, and then we went home. And so now, like I said, it was early in the morning. So it's not even noon yet, I don't think. And we get back home, and the dogs are huffing and puffing, and they drink their gallon of water, and then they kind of crash on the floor, and they're still huffing and puffing as they're passed out. And we're sitting in the living room, and I looked at them because we're both in bad moods. We're not talking. We're just, there's no phones. It's not like we're playing on our phones. There's no TV. We're just sitting in the living room. It's silence. After the dogs stop huffing and puffing, now it's just silence. He's pissed off. I'm pissed off. The dogs are passed out. And then, to break the silence, my husband just says, let's go for ice cream. He's been on this ice cream kick lately. I don't know why, but whatever, fine. And I said, okay. And it was about 12 or 12:30 at this point, because it was lunchtime. It was sort of busy. And there's a place where there's an outdoor, I don't know, you'd call it it's not a drive-in. What do you call it? A drive-up or a, whatever. Where you can either order it the window, and then there's some picnic tables outside, kind of a thing. So, you can order there and then take it with you, or you can just sit outside, and they've got a nice little seating area. So because it was not a sweltering day, it was a nice day. It was busy because, again, it was early afternoon. It's lunchtime or whatever on a Saturday. So, I'd taken, I'd taken a couple of shopping bags because I said, maybe on the way back, we'll go to the store if we need to get something or whatever. Maybe there's something on sale and we can pick something up later to eat or whatever. So I grabbed a couple of our canvas shopping bags. I had my water bottle because generally I'll take a water bottle, and we ended up, walking there because it's only about not even a 20-minute walk from our house, because I said, we've had bad luck with vehicles today. I don't even want to, we're not taking the car. Let's just walk there. We'll go down a side street where we don't have to mess with traffic or stop signs or anything like that. It's a straight walk. We just go and we'll be fine. So we do that, and we get there, and it was busy as I expected, and whatever, people are having a good Saturday afternoon. So I said, okay, I'll go and drop these like shopping bags on the table. Or I'll reserve a table for us, and then I'll come back up and we'll like order whatever we were going to get. We were going to get like fries and something too, and the ice cream. We weren't just going to do ice cream. And so, so I go and I'm like, okay, he's in line, and I go, and there's a table over at the very kind of back of their, it's sort of a parking lot, I guess, but whatever. They've made it into sort of like a little patio. I go and I throw the bags down, and then I come back up and I'm standing beside him at the counter. And I said, oh, I'll grab some napkins and I'll go and I'll put them. So I as I'm going back to the table, there's a woman at our table. And she kind of seemed, I don't want to say homeless, but there was something. She was either on drugs or she was just, whatever. And she's like picking up one of the bags. Now, again, they were empty, whatever. And because I was in this mood, I was probably about 15 feet from the table. And there's a lot of people around. I shouted out loud, "Excuse me, trash, leave my things alone." And so she kind of mumbled something. "Oh, I thought this was the worker here. She, sits at this table." I said, "Get away from my things." Oh, sorry. I said, "Get away from my things." So she does leave. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm snapping at everybody today. But at the same time, it's like people are it's not like I'm not snapping at people for no reason, right? It's not like I'm taking my anger out on other people. It's like, no, everybody who's crossing me or pissing me off or, aggravating me is hearing it. And I'm not normally like that. But it was just like, this is now 5 strikes today, right? You've got the FedEx truck, you've got the car that's pulled past the stop sign, you've got the furniture truck, you've got the loose dog running, and now you've got this woman who's approaching the table and like going through my things. So, my husband hears this from across the way, and he turns and he's just looking, and I said, let's just get it to go. I don't even want to fucking stay here. I don't want to be around people. That was my tipping point where I was like, I'm just done. He convinced me to stay. And so I said, all right, let's just stay at the table, but we're going into bubble mode. So we're not interacting with anybody. We're not paying attention to anybody else. We're not, commenting on what's going on around us. Let's just have a conversation. It's just us here right now. It's just us. So we're talking, and we sat there for a little while. Again, it wasn't too hot. It was nice weather. And I said, all right, so let's go home now. So I go to grab my water bottle and my bags. And I look and I was like, there's only one bag here. And I thought, oh my God, she stole one of my canvas shopping bags. She stole an empty bag. Like, it wouldn't have weighed anything, so it's not like she's going to be like, oh my God, there's something heavy, I'm just going to grab this. It was a fucking empty canvas bag. And I was like, oh my, so that just, I was done. I was done for the day. I was like, how did I not, notice that? How did I not in this moment? Because again, she had like a bunch of things with her, so I was kind of like, oh, I didn't know. And she probably grabbed the bag and left with it. So that was my Saturday. So when I said at the top of the show, like, you haven't even been awake for 5 minutes and all this stuff is going wrong for you, that's what I'm like. We're not even at like 1 p.m. and it's a Saturday. I'm going home. We're not, and we did not even. We were talked about, like, we were going to order food. Like, we didn't get groceries. I said, should we order food? I'm like, no, because that also involves people. That involves somebody driving to our house. That involves it probably going to be wrong. The food's going to be wrong. We're going to have to complain about it. We're going to have to do it. I said, I'm not interacting with anybody. I'm not, even if our staff calls us because there's some sort of big, dramatic, I'm not answering. Somebody else can deal with it. I'm not dealing with anybody today. Have you had a day like that? Have you had where you're just like every, and it's not that things are just irritating me that I'm getting, rubbed the wrong way by something. It was like all these all these problems are happening and they're just stacking up and you're just ready to like blow your top. That's exactly what it was. It's not like I was all of a sudden taking a tone with the counter person at the ice cream shop. No, I wasn't being a dick to her, but it was to the people that were just like, yeah, the next person that is going to set me off is going to regret it. And I don't normally get like that. I'm usually really good at keeping things under control, but not that day. Nope. Wasn't happening. Nope. Yeah, and you'd think that I'd be then like snapping at my husband or just like, no, we were in it together because all those things were happening to us at the same time. So we were both right. Like I'm not he was my partner in crime. It's like he's the victim with me and all this. We weren't against each other in that moment. It was like it's just us against the world right now, and that's how we lived that day. Like it was just like I don't really remember even what we did in the evening. I'm trying to think now. I've just. Because the memorable point was up until about noon or 1 o'clock. What did we do that night? I don't remember. I think like SNL was on. No, I don't remember. I don't remember what happened. But yeah, it was like we're just done. We're hiding out from the world the rest of the day. I'm not answering a call. I'm not answering a text. I don't really do social media anyway. But yeah, no, I'm not answering the phone. Not even looking at it. It's gonna be we're bubbling. That's what we're doing tonight. Is we're going to be in the bubble. Send me an email. Tell me if you've had a day like this where you've just lost it. And how did that go for you? Where were you? Were you at work? Was it somebody that you know? Did you just lose it on your partner? What happened? Email me live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
JB here, back on the Scribble. For all those the story that I was just telling you, it's something that makes you sit there and go, how do I handle stress, right? Because it's one thing to have a stressful job and you just deal with shit like that all the time, where it's like you just deal with person after person after person, and then you're kind of like, oh my god, what's next? For me, like I said, I'm retired, and we kind of sort of keep to ourselves at home, and so that's exactly why we actually prefer. I said, we sleep until about, noon almost every day. But when we do go out for lunch or whatever it is, we'll go at like 2:30 in the afternoon during the week. And then when we notice that traffic is picking up, so that'll be at, 4:30 or so, well, about 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. When we see that traffic is getting busy or the mall or wherever we're at, that's actually where I kind of say to him, like, all right, time to get home now. So when everybody else is now free for the day because work is over, school is over, that's when we look at each other and go, okay, back home now. Let's hide out from everybody. I don't know if it's an age thing or what, but I'm just at that point now where I prefer, walking through the stores in the daytime when there's minimal traffic, not many people around. Same thing in restaurants. We'll go at 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon. I know that's when restaurants like the downtime and they don't have to deal with anybody. But we're that couple that comes in and goes, it's 3 o'clock. Well, we're going to eat until 5. When we notice a lot of people coming in, that's when we go. We're not staying for the dinner rush. We're here just before everybody comes in, and then we're out of here. And that's exactly it. When weekends roll around, that we kind of just stay home. We stay out of everybody's way. We don't need to be around tons of people. We don't need to deal with traffic, idiot drivers, whatever. Same thing when we walk the dogs. We go during the day or during the week. We go in the daytime, and it's nice. We don't have and there's the whole etiquette of walking dogs and how it's like, you know what, just if your dog is on one of those 20-foot leashes and is basically walking you, you're the one who needs to go around us. We're not the ones who are, going to get out of your way. Our dogs walk nicely. We have no problem. Yours the one is being a terror and is, dragging you down the sidewalk and whatever. You should be the one to go and say, oh, I see those people that are 40 feet ahead of me. I'm going to cross the street as a courtesy so that, they don't have to deal with my monster that I'm trying to walk. So maybe we'll talk about that next week. All right, my name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you then. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some